Tell me one good reason why I should try continuing to fight it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So the Samsung Galaxy S7 was released back in 2016, making this phone 2 generations old. But how does it hold up in 2018? A few things to take note before I begin. The Galaxy S7 that I have is the US version, specifically the Sprint variant. So this is the Snapdragon variant. Here are the specs. I don't want to make this video too long, so you can just pause the video. And you might actually be wondering why I have the Snapdragon variant of this phone, since this version is only available in the US and the rest of the world gets the Exynos variant. This is actually a hand-me-down or pinaglumaan from my relatives in the US, so shoutout to Ninang Arlene and Tito Lito. So this is kinda like a review, not really sure, but nonetheless, this is the first smartphone that I'm gonna be featuring for the channel and hopefully won't be the last. Wink wink, wink. Like I said, the Galaxy S7 is now 2 generations old, but does it actually feel old? So I've been using this phone for about 2 months now, coming from a really old LG G3. And so far, if you can get this phone for under $400 brand new, then this is actually a good deal. Now before you type in the comments, "F that bro, the Pocophone F1 is the shit," or maybe you can buy a last generation OnePlus 5 for the same price, but I guess this video is more for the current owners of the Galaxy S7 and thinking if they should upgrade to the latest flagship instead of should you buy this. It's available in 4 colors, this gold one that I have, black, silver, and white. So I know it has a lot of scratches, which is actually inevitable to a mostly glass constructed phone. Also, if you have sweaty hands like me, yeah. There's also a few minor dents on the side, so if you are planning on buying this, get a skin or a case. Overall, the S7 just feels solid in the hands with a premium glass and metal construction, curved edges at the back for ergonomics. And yeah, the design isn't really inspiring in 2018 with a fairly large top and bottom bezel. The buttons I would say are as clicky as they were brand new, I'm not sure, but the buttons are nice and clicky and perfectly positioned. Same goes for the home button / fingerprint scanner, which is still decently fast and accurate even with a handful of scratches on it. Also, beside the home button are the capacitive backlit, multitask, and back buttons. The 5.1-inch AMOLED display is still gorgeous and plenty viewable outdoors even in direct sunlight. And with the latest update, you can now adjust the resolution down to 720p. I'm actually disappointed that there's pretty much no difference in battery life between using 1080p and 1440p. Again, I'm speaking for the Snapdragon variant of this phone. Performance of a 2-generation-old processor still feels snappy. Browsing the UI, opening and closing apps, multiple apps open at once, multitasking, and even playing the most graphically demanding games like PUBG Mobile and Asphalt 9 in high settings. It rarely stutters, but that's something that most people shouldn't notice or mind. But honestly, it doesn't feel like I'm missing out on anything even with the latest flagship devices out right now. Of course, since this is a Samsung phone, this is running on what used to be TouchWiz, now Samsung Experience 9.0 on Android Oreo 8.0. I'm gonna get a little biased here. I actually like Samsung skin mainly because I've used Samsung phones for the longest time, with the exception of the bloat apps that Samsung has pre-installed, but thankfully they reduced it, but there's still a handful. Although you can't uninstall some of it unless you connect it to a PC. But if Samsung skin isn't your thing or you just want a stock Android experience, then you should look elsewhere. So I'm gonna share some features that most people should find useful. Palm swipe to take a screenshot, which now has scroll capture to take long screenshots, noise, option to swipe down anywhere on the home screen to bring down the notification panel, muting alarms and calls by turning the phone over, split screen to use 2 supported apps at once, which is actually a feature on any Android phone now. Same goes for swiping up to open the app drawer. And most importantly, double tapping the home button to open the camera app, which actually has a noticeable delay. It's not bad or anything, there's just this delay where it takes an extra split second for the viewfinder to open. And speaking of the camera, the Galaxy S7's main 12 megapixel sensor doesn't feel like it's behind by a lot. It's still a great performer, and I feel like smartphone cameras have been getting really good that you can just literally open the camera app, take a picture, and go on with your day. Of course, there's no dual camera, so no fancy features like optical zoom and wide-angle shots. Typical Samsung with sharp, vibrant, saturated colors and really good dynamic range. Of course, if you want to get that perfect shot, then you can go into Pro mode to adjust ISO, exposure, shutter speed, etc. Although low light or nighttime shots can be a bit disappointing at times, considering this does have a wide f1.7 aperture. Videos taken on the S7 are still gorgeous from 1080p to 4K. Take note that this unit that I have has the Sony IMX sensor and not the ISOCELL sensor that Samsung makes. Now that's not region dependent but purely luck of the draw. And the front facing 5 megapixel camera is great as long as you have enough light. Battery life is okay, I would describe as just really average. I remember watching Galaxy S7 reviews in the past saying that it's averaging 4 to 5 hours of screen on time, moderate to heavy use. But for me, I'm just averaging 3 to 3.5 hours of screen on time with my use, which I would describe as moderate to heavy. So this includes Facebook, Twitter, a lot of YouTube and gaming, and some picture and video taking. I would usually barely make it to the end of the day with less than 10% remaining. Of course, the S7 has quick charge and fast wireless charging. So using a compatible quick charge adapter will get you from 0 to 60 in 30 minutes and 0 to 100 in 1 hour and 20 minutes. So if I feel like the phone won't make it to the end of the day, I can just legit plug it in for 20 to 30 minutes and I'll be good to go. But I feel like for the majority of people, the 3000 mAh battery should be enough. Battery on standby is also average, so in 8 hours, I would typically lose 4 to 6% of battery life. Although to the S7 owners out there, may it be the Snapdragon or Exynos variant, tell me about your experience regarding the battery life, as it might just be a problem with my unit since this is a hand-me-down. And lastly, some of the things that I don't like about the S7, it has micro USB, so yeah, it's not really future-proof. The speakers are not terrible, but they're not good either. Loudness is lacking and gets really tinny at max volume. It still does have a headphone jack, expandable memory, and is water-resistant IP68, forgot to mention that. And I guess that's one thing that would convince you to keep or buy the S7 is that peace of mind when you're outside. You can use this in the shower, in a pool, etc. compared to budget smartphones out there that doesn't have any IP certification. So in conclusion, if you currently have the Galaxy S7, then you don't really need to upgrade to the latest flagship unless you really want to and have the money for it. And if you're looking to buy a fairly cheap smartphone right now, this is a good option for less than $400 brand new and about $200 if used. Of course, if you want a bigger phone with a bigger battery, then the S7 Edge should be an option for you also. The S7 I can comfortably use with one hand. I do have average size hands, at least I think so take note. And yeah, I think that's gonna do it for my first smartphone coverage. Comment section is open if you guys have any questions, so leave a like, dislike if you feel like you have to, consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. On another note, Lazada recently updated their affiliate program, so I'm gonna be using a new affiliate link which should be available soon, but for now you can donate through PayPal to support the channel. Also follow me on Twitter as I occasionally post updates regarding the channel there. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.